Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, we talk about why the world is so obsessed with potato salad, t-shirts that change with cold water, and we have lamps that use lasers. You heard that right, lasers. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the KickCast, the podcast where we go out, find crowdfunding projects for you, and let you know if you need to backtrack or sack them. I am Ktdata, fresh off Nerdtacular, and joining me is a man who has a deep, dark past and is also an awesome guy at the same time. The one and only Drew Tyler. How you doing today, Drew?
I'm very good. Apparently my deep, dark past is still a part of me.
Well, I heard a little bit of the intrigue on the last Little Big Cast where they wanted to know the origin of Night 20.
Let's not even start with that because I can't go there. I can't talk about the origin of Night 20, but I am excited to do episode 45, so let's move forward.
Yeah. And I like how you hide that, but for some reason, I feel like I've heard the story of it before. I just can't remember it. That's why.
You may have. And it's not that exciting. It's kind of fun to make it exciting. But
yep. All right. So, Drew, first of all, it is episode 45. Winston has reminded us that. We're almost at 2 years.
Holy cow.
So, before we actually jump into our projects today, I decide we have to do our awesome news section, Drew.
We have a lot of not a lot of news, but there's still some stuff to talk about.
Well, it's been a slow 2 weeks because of the 4th of July holiday in the States for all those. So, but one thing that has kind of blown up over the weekend is potato salad. You heard it right. Potato salad.
Of all the asinine things.
So of course we had to bring it up because it's a big news item. It's not one of our projects that we were actually featuring, but this guy named Zach Danger Brown,
which I'm not even sure that's his real middle name.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna put that up there.
Yeah. He decided to put up a Kickstarter project to get enough funds to make potato salad.
Potato salad.
It was $10. It funded, and then it went viral at the same time. I mean, right now, he's actually at $56,729.
To make potato salad.
Yes. And he's not sending this potato salad out. He's all he's doing is, making potato salad and having a pizza party. It's kind of crazy about this, and the internet has kind of been raging about it on there. To me, I don't really see that big of a problem. I know a lot of people are like, well, there's going to be tons of copycats. There are already tons of copycats out there. But remember the last joke project we had? It was the Death Star and the X-Wing.
Right. That was a joke one, yeah.
We saw those, and those died out very, very quick out there.
My question is, do you think that this particular project has something to do with the looseness that they added in the last week or two or so? Well, yes, it's probably been more than 2 weeks, where they just said, okay, we're not vetting as many anymore. You're welcome to come to us if you want help, but you can launch right away. Is that part of this?
Well, no, he's following the rules. He's making a product, a physical product at the end. It's but don't you think violating any of the rules.
That's true. I just wonder if there's because there's now an option to launch right away, that there was nobody could look at this and say that's a ridiculous project. We'll find some grounds that you can't do it. I don't know. I just feel like that kind of opened it up for this, but it's insane.
Well, I'm a little suspicious about it,
right?
Because one of the things about crowdfunding projects is getting the exposure and notice from people, and if you look at it. I've never seen Zach Danger Brown before. I've Googled for him and nothing really comes up. But he had to have some kind of larger fan base or a large group of friends that kind of made this popular. I mean, because there are tons of projects on Kickstarter, which are great ideas, some even more ridiculous than this, that get no traction whatsoever.
Right.
So there's some missing piece about this that it just doesn't add up in my mind.
That's true. In fact, speaking of ridiculous things that don't get any traction, this one caught my eye, and I nearly backed it for fun. But there's a guy that wants you to join him in his time machine, and so he made a whole project that's only got 13 days left on it, but has 0 backers. It's raised 0 pounds of its 99-pound goal. He leads off by saying, "I'm going to sew Van Gogh's ear back on after he passes out from blood loss. Just tell him I respect him. Join me." Like that's his lead.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's nutty. There's got to be a ton of these types of things out there. Why potato salad? Why did it go where it went?
Yeah, I just feel like there's something behind the scenes that we don't know quite yet about.
I got it. This is a chapter in our forthcoming ebook. This is a chapter deconstructing potato salad.
Yeah, it's true. And like I said, he's not breaking the rules.
No.
I mean, the $50 level, you get a cookbook. You get a potato salad cookbook out of that. That's,
even at the $3 level, he has received a bite of the potato salad. So somehow he's sharing this potato salad some way. Otherwise, you're just choosing ingredients or hanging in the kitchen.
So I think he takes a bite of the potato salad, says your name, or something like that. Maybe I don't
receive a bite of potato salad. It sounds like you receive it. You get a bite of potato salad.
Yeah,
there's 759 people. That is one massive, huge ass potato salad.
Yeah, he was planning on making $60 worth of potato salad. Now he's got to make more. Yeah, like, see, right there, Winston. This could be just a giant Jimmy Kimmel hoax that comes out after. I just, I feel it. Something about it just does not seem right to me. See, on there. But
I'm with you. This is very possible.
Yeah.
This is Kimmel-esque. It reeks of twerking on the door and catching on fire.
Yeah, but part of it is like there are things that he did right about this project. There are things he did wrong about this project. I mean, no video, seriously, no video.
Right, and
and some of the other wrong things, and because at Nerdtacular they had a whole panel on crowdfunding too. One of the things that I've noticed is he's not making any money off of this. If you look at his t-shirt level, it's at $35. It takes about $20 to make a shirt, and then he's got to ship it out. So he's making like $5 off this at most. On there, if you think about it.
Okay. Sure, yes, but those t-shirts at that t-shirt level and the hat level or whatever it is. I can't. I don't think you can say he's not making any money, because I think that somewhere in that $56,000, I could redo an entire wing of my house for $56,000. Right? He's making potato salad for 4,000 people. Whoever, is that. He may. There's something going on here.
Yeah, because like I said, one thing that I talked to, and like these people at Nerdtacular, they've had successful crowdfunding projects. I mean, we're talking about Brian Brushwood, Veronica Belmont, Andrew Allen. All of these people have had multiple crowdfunding projects on multiple platforms. I mean, Brian Brushwood, he makes $2,000 per episode of Night Attack on there. They know what they're doing. And
Yes.
Even Dave from Frog Pants, I know he doesn't like to be on camera, but he's like, if you make a t-shirt level, make sure it's at least $60 or you're not going to make any of your money back, because you got to calculate the time to print the shirt, the time you're taking to mail it out, and
I see. Okay, I see where you're at.
In the end, you don't make anything for the actual project. You're just trying to fulfill a reward at that moment.
Okay, I see where you're at with that. Yes.
So like, yeah, and I know other people are like, well, now, why is everybody donating so much money to potato salad when they could be donating to other projects level? And to me, it's like, hey, it's their money. They can pledge it to whatever they
There's
want.
a bandwagon and they're getting on it.
Yeah. And like I said, people are like worried about the copycats. I've seen the copycats. Guess what? Most of them have made $0.
Right.
Because if you're not the first, you're out of there. So that's I don't think this is going to be bad. Within a month, we won't see any more copycats or anything, because people are going to realize that crowdfunding is a full-time job and a half.
Right. You've got to have a dedicated person at least that's ready to drive it and hold on to it, take it all the way to the end.
So that is potato salad, and I'm a little hungry now.
Yeah. We talked about that one for a while, but that was our single news item. Yes. Potato salad.
All right.
Now let's get to the good stuff.
Yeah. Let's go into our first project. So, Drew, you have kids.
I do.
Do your kids still use nightlights?
They do. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So one of the problems of nightlights is, it only lights up a tiny corner of the room, right? And it doesn't really work that well unless you have it in a good hallway or something, right?
Correct.
So our first project of the night takes the nightlight to the next level. Instead of using an incandescent lamp or a fluorescent lamp on there, it uses
lasers.
Lasers.
I thought you were gonna say lasers.
And so what's called the LDG lamp, and what it does is It uses the stuff called LDG, stands for laser diffusion grating. So for those of you at home who don't speak science, what it essentially is it takes a beam of laser and then you put a material with slits on it, and what happens is it breaks the laser light into multiple directions and it can go anywhere, and you can control it since this is a laser.
Right, very controllable.
And once it splits off, it goes into these areas and it will give a glow off on that area. So as long as the laser beam can reach it, it will light up that area. And the way it works is you can't really see where the source is. You just see these dots on the wall, and they actually call that destination lighting. So it's kind of almost glowing off the wall.
The glow happens where it lands as opposed to where it emanates.
Yeah, because traditional lamps, the closer you get to the lamp, the brighter it gets on there. This is kind of opposite on there, and so what's cool about it is they actually have this part on their Indiegogo page. If you scroll to it, you see that, so you can see the kind of dots of the laser on the wall.
Right, it's almost like a grid, or like snipers are going to shoot you with blue lights.
Yeah. But you can see this tent one right here. And in that tent, there's actually a little kid holding up the lamp, but you can't see the little kid because the lasers are obscuring the shadows. So that's kind of an interesting thing that you can do on there. And it uses 1 watt of energy. 1 watt. So a lot of people are like, what? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, 1 watt of energy. So
for a freaking laser beam?
Yeah, it barely uses any energy on there. The lamp, you can plug it into the wall, or it runs on 2 or 4 AAA batteries. I don't understand the 2 or 4 thing, but they say you can get about 10 hours of operation from a fresh set of batteries on there. So, I mean, I love this idea, and the nice thing is, since they are using lasers, things like smoke and that will not obscure the light. If you look on the page,
it's pinpointed,
yeah, so it can cut right through. Because I mean, you've been into like laser tag places. The lasers just shoot through the smoke. It actually makes it even easier to see the beams.
Right.
And so like I love this idea. They're trying to actually take the technology to the next level on there. I mean, what do you kind of think about this, Drew?
I'm still a little kind of baffled. I love the idea, and I think it's kind of cool. At first, I was like, okay. The only thing I know about lasers is you're not supposed to look at them in your eyeballs because they'll burn your retinas. So I'm thinking, if we're splitting this laser into a million pieces, how am I going to keep it from getting a beam in the eye? But I don't know. They seem to have a pretty good grasp on how to make this thing work. So I'm interested. I'm very interested.
Yeah, I actually like this idea. The only thing I don't like is that they're using a blue laser. So it only works really well as a nightlight instead of kind of full spectrum. But I get why they can't do that. Lasers only emit 1 wavelength, so you're only going to get 1 color. So you would have to have multiple lasers shooting out in the same direction to get white light. That's science.
It's yep. And your 1 watt would go to many watts.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that I kind of have a downside to it. For you, Drew, is this a backtrack or sack?
Definitely a track for me. They've got a long ways to go to their goal. It's fixed funding and 28 days left. They got a long ways to go. If they can get the traction in the press, with some of a louder voice, they have a chance. So I'm a track for this one.
Yeah, and it looks like they did a Kickstarter project previously, and that went 200% over their goal, and that's $500,000.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's why I was a little confused about this. So this one's another track for me because I'm not sure why they're coming back for this. I think they're trying to iterate onto a new version of it, and they need some help to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure on that. But it does look cool, and it's a track for me just because this solves the nightlight problem even better. And lasers.
And lasers. Bam. This is really just strange. Yeah, they've already had a Kickstarter, and they're just going again on Indiegogo. Wow. Okay.
All right, and then our actually last thing.
Yeah, we're only doing 2 projects today.
We're only doing 2 projects. Our last one is the Splatter Tech shirt. So tell everybody a little bit about what the Splatter Tech shirt is, Drew.
So I happened upon Splatter Tech as I was browsing through Kickstarters and Indiegogos today, crowdfunded stuffs, and the reason why I liked it was because it had a very nostalgic feel for this old man. Splatter Tech shirt is by a group called Prismatic. They're out of Springville, Utah, so they're local guys to us. But what caught my eye was their really cool use of GIFs in here. But it is a shirt that is affected by cold water or air, which is to me the nostalgia comes from those hypercolor shirts. When I was in middle school, if you had a hypercolor shirt and you held your hand on a part of your body, the heat changed the shirt color subtly. It was relatively subtle. So when I watched the GIFs, and as you can see some of those pictures there, this is some pretty bright and impressive like color coming across on these white shirts turning crazy blue or pink shirts turning crazy purple. So great video, great story behind it. To me, it just sounds like a lot of fun to be having with kids. Throw the shirts on the kids and send them to the water park or send them outside to play in the sprinklers. Just let them have fun. Squirt guns. There's a lot of fun, I think, that comes with this one, and I felt like doing something fun today. So what are the questions you have about the Splatter Tech? It's wet or dry. As long as it's cold, it's colored and it's vibrant.
So when it kind of warms up, it changes back to the original color.
Yep. So as soon as it warms back up, it'll go back to whatever the original cotton was or whatever it is.
That's actually pretty cool. I'm kind of curious on, is this gonna like bleed into anything else when you wash it?
Well, and that's the thing that they mentioned early on in their story. They basically said we remember this and how it happened for how the kids, right? Back in the day we had this, and you only could get a couple of washes. If you washed your hypercolor shirt more than like 5 or 6 times, it was done. Like it would no longer be able to do that. For some reason, repeatable thousands of times in the shirt and the bandanas. If you take care of it, wash it properly, it'll last for dozens of washes. So they did mention that it will go longer and last longer than the ones previously. So they've got better fabric, better dyes, something's specialer, which makes sense for a crowdfunded project to be like, we've got this cool idea, we want you to have it. So this is a lot of the backer levels. I love that they broke it down and said, well, what people are loving is going to be the color change. So let's give them some choices. So they have a backer level where you can just get a bandana for $12. You get a bandana, I believe it's 12, and you choose your color and you've got this something to play with, or you can get a full T-shirt at the $24 level. So anyway, this is a back for me. I love it. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I love that it's vibrant. It's always been so subtle and kind of like I think I see it changing, but these guys have got it like crazy, like black and white.
Yeah, is it bad that I don't remember these T-shirts at all? Did I just go to a lame school where none of the kids had it?
Either that, or you were just way too young. I've got to be like 5 years on you, right?
Yeah.
So that would have put you.
It's more like I have 5 years on you, Drew.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. So when I saw them, you probably would have been like third or fourth grade. So
no, these look pretty cool. And I love Utah projects, and they're not. These are fairly decently priced, and I might even think they're underpriced. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
this one's a back for me. I mean, this is cool. I mean, I wonder if you could like put a stencil on your shirt and then just like wet it, and you could get your name on it. You could say Drew on it.
Oh yeah, like for when it does get cold, that it actually like yes, I bet you could.
Hidden messages on your shirt.
I love that they have packages too, like a capture the flag pack where you can play 2-on-2, and they give you all enough bandanas and shirts to play games.
That is such a great idea. Well, like water fight games, so it's like paintball except with water and cheaper.
Yeah. And cheaper, exactly. You run around with squirt guns and if you got hit or not.
Yeah,
I love it.
You can't be like, oh, I didn't get hit. Like, dude, there's a giant splotch on your shirt right now.
Yeah. So these guys only have less than 2 weeks left to go.
They're funded.
They're already funded, so it's a go. This is a back for me. I'm going to throw down for probably at least a bandana, if not a shirt, because I love the vibrancy and I think it's way cool.
Oh man, yeah, that is great. All right, Drew. So, like we mentioned earlier, we only have 2 projects because we have a special surprise for you guys. If you guys have not noticed yet, I went to Nerdtacular over the weekend because Nerdtacular is one of the greatest times you could ever have.
Surprisingly, you were very off the grid for like 3 days.
It's partially because I didn't have Wi-Fi or LTE, and partially because I was hanging with a hotel full of nerds that were playing video. We were playing board games most of the time or in panels.
That's great. I'm jealous. I wish I could have been there.
I was in the meat space with nerds. It's kind of crazy.
They were all out of their houses and doing things together.
Yeah, but we have a surprise because there are a lot of crowdfunding creators who actually go to Nerdtacular. Last year we had Andrew Allen as a special on our show. And this year, I managed to get a chat with Tim West of Fantasy Coin HQ, and he actually has had 3 crowdfunding projects, and I actually have one of them here. Like this was one of them was this plush toy
Oh wow,
on there.
look at
But
you.
he makes amazingly good coins and stuff. So what we did was I sat down with him and just had a little discussion about his coin, about his crowdfunding experience and stuff. So shall we just jump in and roll the tape?
Let's roll tape.
All right, here we go. Hey guys, this is Ktdata. We are coming to you special from Nerdtacular 2014 at Snowbird, Utah, and I am here with Tim West of Fantasy Coin LLC. And Tim has done a couple crowdfunding projects right there. So tell everybody at home a little bit about your history.
Well, I started off with a few small Kickstarters, making some plushies for the Frog Pants community, and they seemed to do pretty well. So I took my knowledge and just transferred over to the next project and just kept on rolling with that until I was finally ready with my coin designs that I've been working on for the past 3 years. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, and like I actually wanted to ask you about this. Like, did you think it helped by doing those kind of smaller plushie projects to kind of learn a little bit more about the in and outs of Kickstarter before you kind of launched your really big one?
Yes, definitely. And even more on the fulfillment side, because I did the fulfillment myself. And it was rough at first. I'm talking handwriting, labels, hours spent at the postal service, just filling boxes. So definitely some lessons learned there.
Yeah. So what kind of drew you to start crowdfunding projects in the first place?
I didn't have the money to do it myself, otherwise I would have. But I heard Scott mention on the episode of The Instance that he would like somebody to make some Henry plushies. So I'm like, well, okay, nobody's doing it for a few years, so I figured I might as well try it. So I tried it out, did a lot of research, and came up with a few samples and got his approval and went forward with that on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, and like I thought it was awesome because, like, how do you even like start getting into contact with people overseas to help mass produce things? Or I don't even know the first place you go from there.
Yes. Neither did I until I just jumped in, and is either sink or swim, pretty much. I remember Googling manufacturers, overseas manufacturers, or local manufacturers, or something, someplace where I can buy or get in contact with them. And I eventually ran into Alibaba or globalsourcing.com. Alibaba seems to be the larger one, but you can just contact them, and if they don't get back to you, just move on to the next one. There are hundreds of manufacturers. If you need a product that they make or can make, and they have a low enough minimum order quantity, then you can make your idea.
Yeah, how many kind of vendors did you kind of shop around for until you found one that seemed to be right for you?
As for the plushies?
Yeah, for the plushies.
Okay, probably about 4, I think. Some were way expensive. I think they kind of knew that I was new at this, so they jacked the price up. And then the others seemed to be cheap but lower quality, so I kind of took the middle ground where it was nice quality and an affordable price.
Okay, and so now let's kind of go into your like big coin one on there. How long did it take you to kind of from plan all of this before you even launched?
I started that process about 2010. I remember I just started going back to college. I used my Montgomery GI Bill. I had to use those good benefits, and my first class was a Business 100 class. And I was looking at this really thin book, and I remember thinking, wow, anybody can do it. Anybody can start a business. Really, you really can start a business. It's not complicated. It's not as complex as you might think it is, or what you've been led to believe, kind of. So, over the next 3 years, I just started doing one coin set and improving the product, trying new materials, and then I said, okay, well, now this is possible. Let's do some more coin sets, and then over the next few years, I just did all the different designs that I have now, and I remember seeing more and more coin Kickstarters come and go on the Kickstarter, and I remember just having to say like, okay, just wait, I'm not ready yet, but when I do go, it'll be great.
Yeah, and like when you launched it, how much did you go over your goal? Like, I think you did really well on yours.
Yeah, I can't remember how much percentage I went over, but I had a minimum. The goal was 40,000, and that's kind of still not the lowest price possible, but it was just enough just to make it and not have any extra inventory. But then my real minimum that I would have been able to get the best price was 60,000, and that would have got me the best product and the best shipping and the best efficiency. And I remember going over, I was about 124 and a half. But then through backer kit, so pre-orders, I generated another 37,000. So
Yeah. So do you kind of recommend that? Because I've started to see that trend a little bit more on these projects that are almost ready to kind of push to production, where after they finish the crowdfunding project, they kind of set out pre-orders. Is that something you kind of recommend, or where'd you come up with that idea right there?
I remember hearing backer kit from your podcast, and I said, okay, let me check that out. And it looked good to me. So I figured there's some traffic on BackerKit. I can get some pre-orders, and it's a nice place for my backers to order more because they're saying, "Oh, I messed up. I didn't pledge enough. I need more." So I put it on there, and I said, "Hey, y'all go register for this, or here's the link, and you can order as much or as little as you like." And it turned out pretty well. So next to 37,000.
So if you could go back and kind of like change something, what would you change anything about your project?
Yes, I would have changed some of the wording around and some of the pledge levels, some of the on the page itself. There's not many people who will nitpick, but there was some grammar errors that they were confused on. Do I get this or both? So that was my fault. And then also, before you say something, make sure you mean it because they will hold you to it.
Yeah.
I made sure, even if I messed up, I said something, I will stick to it. Man of my word. Right? So if I said I'll give some stuff for free, I'm going to give them stuff for free.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like good business practice in general,
Right.
And because a lot of times you see these people who start their projects have no business background at all, and when they get stuck into this, like, what do I do on here? So what are things that you actually, some tips or tricks that you've learned along the way from doing all these 3D projects that you want to share to other people?
I would say if your project is big enough, you should probably outsource fulfillment to professionals.
It seems like a theme this weekend, talking to people.
Yeah, especially if you have thousands of backers, you really need to outsource that. If you're the only person, or even if you have a team of like 5 people, it's still too big of a job for 5 people. Now, if you have a smaller project where you only have a few hundred people, you can do fulfillment yourself, but I would recommend getting a stamps.com account and a scale and a printer because it will save you so much time and you don't have to write out the labels yourself. You just print them out, stick it on a box, and it's fast. And also, I would say that communication is probably the biggest thing that some of my backers said they miss on all the other projects they backed because they can ask a question and it'll be a week or 2 before they get an answer. And this is during the project, and I was made sure to live inside the comment section and have my email open on a different tab, and I have my page on a different tab, and every time I was home, I was on there. If I was watching Hulu, I had it in the background, and as soon as I had an email or a message or some people actually called me, I had to make sure to pick up. Yes, because I had my personal cell phone is on my website, so I had a few people call me, and so I picked up and answered them. They called a few times, but that's fine. I'll always answer the questions, and they were really appreciative of that and answered a lot of questions. And it actually evolved my project to better suit the backer because at first I had just the coin sets of 30, and they were mixed sets. And they said, "Oh, we want 30 of just a single type." And I said, "Okay, now you have it." And now they say, "Oh, I want 10 packs." So I'm like, "Okay, now you have it." And they said, "Hey, what about stretch goals now that, you're up there?" So I had thought ahead about stretch goals. So I said, "Okay, you're going to have free stuff. And then if we get this high, you can have more free stuff." And they really like that. Free stuff is always popular, especially if it's built into the the profit margin of the product. So
Was that a kind of good way to keep the momentum going? Because I always ask people, once you reach your goal, how do you kind of keep that momentum going to help get even more people to keep contributing? Because I've seen some projects almost like stall right when they've hit their goal and then not go any farther.
Yeah, I would say that for me, it was the addition of the free stuff and the addition of a new item, the bars. And it was kind of a prototype item. I wasn't quite done with it yet, but I was done enough to where I can offer it. And they just went crazy for it. They really liked it, and they want me to come back with another Kickstarter for more bars for the other sets that I have.
That's awesome.
So I had to come back, and that I think was the thing that really propelled me forward. That and they shared the project with everybody. They put up a badge on their on the profile, and I think that them sharing it and me adding more free stuff and new people coming in and seeing it really helped me out.
Oh, that's great. So if people kind of want to go check out, your coins and everything that you're selling, where should they go?
They can go to fantasycoinhq.com, and it's a 3D card store. And right now I only have the fire set, but in September I will have the rest on there as well.
Yeah. And you guys should definitely go check these out because I love your coins. They are, I can tell you put your heart and soul into them, and you know your stuff about them because there are like details that I would have never thought about that I saw you list, saying, like how to keep the coins from rubbing off and everything, and I was like, whoa, this is intense. And like I haven't seen anybody else really kind of go to that level of making coins, so make sure you guys go check it out. It's awesome.
Right, and the thing about that is when I started I didn't know anything about coins, so really you don't it's not like you have to, this is not your thing that you do. This is not something you create automatically. You can just say, hey, I want to make this, let me learn about it and let me improve on a product. So remember, I did sell the single set for 3 years beforehand, and at the beginning they were not that great. I mean, they were made of iron, they were shiny, they rubbed off, there was a lot of flaws, so I improved the process. People still liked them in first, but I think having that time, especially during shipping, because coins are heavy, they could burst through the package, so I was able to find out a better way to package them. And so when I launched the Kickstarter, some of the problems that other coin Kickstarters had would not be my problems.
Yeah, so. That's great. All right, Tim, thanks for taking some time to talk to us, and like great wealth of information, and I love it, and that you're willing to share it to people because still a growing community out there, and people are always looking out for it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, man. Yep. All right. Wow. Big thanks to Tim of Fantasy Coin HQ. Make sure you guys go check him out. I kid you not, he makes some of the most amazing coins. I mean, I have a set from him that he made specifically for Nerdtacular, and it's
Nice.
wicked cool
Nice.
on there. I mean, that's great information right there.
He look. Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just so much information. Just to hear that from somebody that's been through it and done it multiple times. That's some good nuggets and nice hat.
Yeah, thanks. But unfortunately, this is the end of this episode of the KickCast. It's sad, isn't it, Drew?
It is. What are you gonna do? We'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah. If you guys have any projects you want us to cover, please let us know. You can send us an email at kickcast@ktdata.net. You can also leave it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/kickcast, or you can send us a tweet at kickcast for the show, or you can send it to @ktdata or at night20 with a K.
Yep.
Those are all Ks. Whoa. There. Or on Google plus.kickcast.net. And of course, we have a live show. Thank you, all the peoples that watching live. Winston and the Mr. Hawks out there watching live. Thank you for joining us, and any other lurkers that aren't in the chat room.
There's a couple on there. Yeah.
I know there's a couple out there. Thank you. And if you want to watch our live show, our next episode will be July 22nd, 2014.
Yay.
Dun, dun, dun. And you can find that at live.kickcast.net. And before we go, Drew, do you have anything else to plug?
Not much other than, go have fun and spend your money on people's dreams.
Yep. And one last thing, my birthday is coming up on the 18th. So if you want to get me a birthday present, The present you should do is go tell somebody else about the KickCast and make sure they listen. Just go tell one other person, and that's good enough for me.
That's so sweet. I
And
shall
it's
do
cheap
that.
too.
Happy birthday.
All right, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Night-night.
Bye.